Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for being on this live because it makes it, you know, nice for me to talk to faces instead of just talking to the computer screen on my own, sharing information. It's nice to see everybody's faces. I actually was telling the girls who were on first that I did a slideshow tonight. So, like, I'm bringing my A game. So, it's a good night to be on. Um, and I'm excited because there's something I wanted to talk about, and it's kind of just been something that's been on my mind, and I think it works really well, like from MM100 standpoint. I think it works really well as far as nutrition goes. It's just something that I think will be really helpful to anybody who's been struggling, post summer. So I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to see how many browsers I keep open at once and be terrified. Okay. Okay, so I just kind of titled this Moving Out of Summer Mode because I think, first of all, I can't believe that it's September 10th. I can't believe that we're like in the second week of school. I can't believe that I feel like summer should still be here, but also I love routine. So I'm glad that that's happening again. Um, Here's what I've kind of described as summer mode, and maybe you can relate to it. I put like the acronyms YOLO and FOMO. So, like, you only live once, you've got fear of missing out. I feel like those are like the official sponsors of summer, where you're like, well, like it's the summer, just for the summer. Or, oh, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to not do that. I want to have the treats. I want to have the beers. I want to, I'm not going to get up early. If I skip a workout, it's not the end of the world, those kinds of things. And you kind of just get caught up in the activities and the events and the treats. Like, I think treats are a big part of summer, and that whole like treat yourself thing. But you figure, it's just for the summer. Like, it's a couple of months. It's not going to make or break me. Maybe you go back into some of the old habits you'd given up in the past. And, that could be personal to you and whatever habits kind of thing that get in your way a bit. And you don't say no very often. And this is the big thing. So the don't say no very often. That is a big thing for me. That was kind of the light bulb moment I had. I was like, okay, here's the thing. I'm not saying no very much. You figure you'll get out of the funk when September comes. Except maybe you've gotten used to going in the drive-through and grabbing a drink and a treat. Or, maybe you've had more sugar than you normally do and processed foods. Or maybe even just like extra treats after dinner. Daddy's in our room. Go lay down. Daddy's in our room. Go lay down. Go lay down, Daddy. Thanks. Stow away. It's like the extra treats after dinner. So maybe you had been doing, like a lot of us talk about from our nutrition workshop, dinner and done. So we'll eat dinner, and then the idea is that once dinner's done, the kitchen's closed and we're not going to eat again until the morning. It just gives our body time to burn the fuel up that we've eaten. And we're not having snacks. And for me anyways, when I have snacks at night, usually they start out well-meaning and then they go off course really, really fast. So it's like, I'll have like this, then I'll have a little bit of that, then it's like this, then it's that, and then it's like out of the, off the charts. So, and maybe you're eating on the fly a lot. So the first couple of weeks and September in general can be pretty chaotic as you get, again, back to a routine. A lot of things start up, sports and activities for the kids, or, maybe things change at your work or whatever. So maybe you're eating on the fly a lot. Like, you're trying to figure out meals and grab stuff on the go, and you don't have a ton of time to prep and plan and those kinds of things. Now, you have to turn summer mode off at some point. And I think now is a really good time to turn summer mode off. And I think the faster we do it, the better, right? Like, it's just going to be easier. And you'll have to figure out for you whether it's better for you to go cold turkey on turning summer off, or whether you're somebody who needs to do this a little bit more gradually. But here's what I'm starting with. I'm starting with saying no more often. And this is the logic behind this. So there's simple ways that I can say no more often, like, I can say no to sleeping in or pushing my snooze button. I got into a habit of doing that. Like, I was on such a great roll of getting up, doing my morning routine and those kinds of things. And then all of a sudden it was like, snooze, snooze. Well, we don't really have anywhere to be, and I can get this done in this time and those kinds of things. And I started to do that. Or, I'm going to say no to skipping a workout. So maybe if I have a long day of appointments or taking the kids out of town or whatever, I'm not going to skip a workout. Or I'm going to plan to double up and those kinds of things. I'm going to say no to that extra serving, because most of the time, unless it's an extra serving of veggies, I probably don't need it. Like, to be honest, like I eat pretty well, and I eat pretty good portion sizes. I don't need to, be having the extra, or, if you're out at a restaurant, you know how the serving sizes that come are always huge. I don't necessarily need to, if I'm having a bigger restaurant meal, I don't necessarily need to have dessert and those kinds of things. Those are the little ways I can start to say no. Maybe I'll say no to the drive-through and I don't drink coffee, but if I did, make my own coffee at home. And then in doing that, like, avoid the temptations of going through the drive-through. So, you can go through the drive-through well-meaning and be like, oh, I'm just going to get a tea. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, a muffin would be good. And it's like your kid in the back's like, oh, get me some Timbits. And you're like, okay, I'll get you some Timbits. And then all of a sudden you're eating their Timbits, and just like, this is how my life goes. No to treats in the staff room or your break rooms at work. It's okay to say no. It's okay to skip it. Like, the world's not going to fall apart if you don't have one of those cookies from the staff room, or, you don't have the chips that are put out at the lunch that everybody's eating. Maybe you're going to say no to the extra beer or the glass of wine. Like, maybe you're going to have your one glass of wine or your one beer, and you're going to savor it and you're going to enjoy it. And then you're going to move on. You're not going to have that extra one just, because, it's the summer. That was summer mode. Maybe you're going to say no to driving when you can walk. This is a big shift that I had when I started to get in better shape many moons ago. I realized that I was trying to avoid as much physical activity as I could. But when I started to feel stronger again and I started to be more mindful, I was like, you know what? I don't need to park with my car bumper in the friggin' door of the store. I can park a few rows away and I can walk. It's okay. I'll get extra steps. Maybe you're going to say no to Netflix sometimes, when you could use that time to meal plan or exercise or read something inspiring. If you're spending a lot of time watching, and again, I'm not coming from a place of judgment. I'm coming from a place of where I've learned. When I get really into Netflix shows, a lot of stuff does not get done. I can talk myself out of stuff really easily, or be like, you know what, I'm just going to watch another episode, just one more. And that's just, that's why Netflix does that. That's why they automatically start the next show, so they can keep your attention. So it doesn't mean that you can't watch your Netflix shows, but maybe instead of watching 2, you're only going to watch 1, and you're going to use that other 25 minutes that you could have been watching a show to actually meal plan, or to exercise, or to read, like I said, something that inspires you or lights you up. It doesn't mean you're saying no to fun or being social or having a good time. But if you've been living in the land of yes 24/7, it's time to say no more often. And again, I'm saying this to myself as well, because it's really easy just to get kind of in that trap and that habit of being like, oh, it's just one, it's not a big deal. Okay, what's some ways you could start? So the first thing, habit tracking. You need to get real with yourself. Where does your day seem to fall apart? So I know we have a lot of different schedules in here. So I know, just based off the people who are even on the call, I know we have shift workers. I know we have some people who have really long commutes. I know we have people who have summer off. I know we have people who are just back to work. I know we have people who have babies. So there's a lot of things that are that are somewhat out of our control, right? But what is in our control is noticing that if there's these patterns that keep happening where things are falling apart, we can be proactive about that. So if we know that our mornings are sucking, how can we fix that? Or if we know that so for us, I know after school can be really emotional. Like, we have, our one son has trouble. He's exhausted essentially, and he's emotional, and after school's not pretty for like the first hour and a half, and it takes some time to decompress. And I've learned that, but I learned that the hard way after trying to like schedule things and trying to get homework done and pushing for things to be done. I realized, okay, no, like, everyone needs some downtime. I can prep dinner. I can do this and I can do that. And how can I make this a little bit better so it's not stressful, so I'm not shoving food in my face because I'm like anxious. If you realize that like your mornings are not running smoothly, are you planning the night before? So like, are you putting your workout clothes out? Do you know what you're going to have for breakfast? Are you making things as smooth as possible for you and for everybody in your life? Because it takes like 2 seconds to put your stuff out at night, but it makes a big difference. For one, you're going to look at your workout clothes and you're going to be like, man, I need to do that. Like they're right in front of my face. And two, it's just one less thing to think about in the morning. Be like, oh, do I really want to wear those pants? Do I really want to wear that sports bra? I don't know. Have you scheduled your workouts and yourself, or even just your self-care time in? So have you looked at your calendar? And I'll tell you, I was super guilty for this for ages, where I just didn't think, okay, here's what I've got going on this day. Like for example, we had a doctor's appointment, or like if we have to go out of town for Alex for doctors, I'll be like, okay, we need to leave early, so I need to shift my workout earlier. I just started to kind of do that now, because I know when I come home from a day of being out of town and a 3-hour drive, I'm not going to feel like working out when I get home. Did I have to learn that the hard way? Yes. Sometimes is it out of my control? Yes. With real estate, I used to work out at all weird times all the time. I would, it'd be whenever I could fit it in, because I had really small kids and a crazy schedule. And that's okay, but also how can you set yourself up best for what time is best for you? Okay, are you meal planning or are you winging it? And are you tracking or are you half tracking or are you not tracking at all? If you're not doing anything with your nutrition and you're doing MM100 and you're expecting results, you're really doing yourself a disservice. No, you do not have to eat perfect all the time. No, you do not have to starve yourself. You do not have to live off of only veggies and lean proteins and never look at a carb again. But you do have to keep an eye on what you're eating, and you do have to be trying to make better choices, saying no, like I said, sometimes, and also being proactive about it with meal planning, and keeping track of what you're eating. If you're not doing a specific nutrition workshop, so you're not doing 2B Mindset or you're not doing the portion fix, then you should be kind of keeping track of what you're eating. Well, you should be doing that with those programs anyways, but you should also still be tracking what you're eating so that you know, okay, you know what, I've gone through this for 5 weeks, say you're on week 5 and you're not seeing the scale go down and you're not seeing your inches move. It's a pretty good indication that whatever you're doing, probably food wise, is not working the best for you right now. And if one of your goals is to lose inches and pounds, then you need to look. And the best way to figure out, what's kind of holding you up is to write out for 3 or 4 days what you're eating, how much water you're drinking, how you're sleeping, all those things that have an impact on the scale. If you are in a nutrition workshop, have you rewatched the nutrition videos? We're currently going through that in the Food Freedom group right now, where we're kind of working our way back through the videos, because we can learn it, but then you forget it, or maybe you just stop doing something, and that's that one little thing, that little tweak that you could change that would make a big difference. And are you engaged and active in the group so that you can get the support you need? So first of all, if you're on this call, amazing. If you're watching the replay, amazing. That's a big step, like just making that little bit of an extra commitment level to whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you're cheering other people on, you're showing up, you're posting, daily, whatever it is, even if it's just a, hey, I'm alive, like you're invested in the community. I'll tell you this, I know for me, when there have been communities or groups that I've been involved in where I got off track or I felt overwhelmed or whatever, I just totally disengage. I just hide from it. And really it was not doing me any, like I was not going to get any better or improve that by hiding. I needed to get in there and be like, okay, you know what, I fell off, or this wasn't going the way I thought it would, or I fell behind. But here I am, and I'm going to keep checking in, and I'm going to keep my eye on it, and I'm going to continue to get better little by little over time. Okay, so we're saying no to lots of things, but we're saying yes to results when we do say no. We know that nothing is going to happen overnight. That's why it's so important to see the small decisions that we're making every day add up over time. 80-20 is a great rule to live by. So like try to be on point 80% of the time. And then when the treats or the silly treats, or like the blips in your roadmap, or a day is off, or even a meal is off, the rest of the time, you aren't going to completely derail yourself. It's just going to be that. It's just going to be a little blip, and it's not a big deal, because the other 80% of the time you're bringing your A game. If you're not where you want to be yet, ask yourself, and I talked about this on a coach call last night, what's one thing you can do right now to get yourself closer to where you want to be? and then start focusing on one new thing each day or every few days until you've nailed that one thing, and then move on. It doesn't have to be 700 things working together all at once. It has to be one thing at a time. You can do one thing at a time, move on to the next thing. Then all of a sudden you've got two things figured out, and then it's three, and then it's four, and it all comes together much, much better. And you're going to see some great results that way. Okay, so that's the end of the slideshow. Does anybody have any questions or anything they're struggling with, or they want to, ask about, or is there like anything that you're not getting, maybe recipes or things like that in the group, things that you'd like to see more, or like, is everybody good or struggling? Yay, nay. Was that helpful, what I just shared, kind of? Yeah. I just kind of had a light bulb moment where I was like, you know what, Lindsay? I think you've treated yourself enough for summer. It's September 10th now. I think you can start saying no once in a while. It's not going to kill you. And I really, really, really love the idea of not trying to change the whole world in one day. You're not going to change and I just had the best message actually from, she was actually like a vice principal a couple of years ago, and she joined a challenge group, and I would message her all summer, and I figured she's off for summer, like it's probably less stressful, that kind of thing, and she'd like ignore me. She finally just messaged me back, and she's like, I'm sorry, I totally was ignoring you because I fell off hard and I was disappointed in myself, and I didn't want to talk to you because I felt so bad. She's like, but here's what I've been doing. I've been getting up at 5 every day, and I've just been trying to move my body, and I'm really sore and I'm really tired, but I'm doing that like one thing. And I'm like, yes. But also, please just don't hide when you do fall off, because everybody's gonna, and that's what I said to her. I said, everybody has some kind of like bump or blip or valley or peak or whatever in whatever they're trying to accomplish. I guarantee it. And some of us are just in the valley for a lot longer than others. Sometimes there's like, you think you're coming out of the valley, and then like rocks are being thrown at you and like fire's burning, and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this slump and everything's against me. But you'll find your way back out. You really will. And yeah, so Tasha says, I've been treating myself way too much this summer. I'm going to start drinking my Shakeol again for breakfast and drinking more water. Question, what do you eat with your Shakeol, or do you only drink your shake and that's enough for breakfast? Yes, water. Carly, for sure you do. Like, I can't believe just even the difference drinking half my body weight in water every day has made for like my skin, my headaches, my energy. Like, I would imagine, especially with like shift, that would do you some good for sure. As long as you can find a bathroom, whatever. Tasha, so for breakfast, I've done it both ways. Like, now I kind of go more on how I feel. So if I wake up and I'm really hungry in the morning, I'll have like toast with my Shakeology, or have an English muffin or something with my Shakeology. I've started to put more stuff in my Shakeology, where I used to have my Shakeology very plain. So like I wasn't getting a whole lot of calories from it, which explains why, I would be hungry sooner. But for me, I have my shake with like a little bit of coconut milk and water, and then I have half a banana and I have frozen berries in it, and then I put like collagen and some boosts in it sometimes, or power greens or spinach or something like that, and usually that is enough for me for breakfast. But again, if I wake up one day and I'm just really hungry, I'll just have toast or something with it. If here's the thing though, oh my gosh, that I learned about breakfast. If you're finding you're super hungry in the afternoon, or you're finding you're eating dinner and you're still hungry, or you're really hungry at night, it actually almost 90% of the time goes back to your breakfast. So it's not a bad idea to eat a bigger breakfast. Like, Shakeology is filling. It's meant to be filling. It's like super loaded with tons of good stuff to keep you full. But if you are finding that you're hungry as the day goes on, it's almost probably not even what you're eating for lunch or what you're eating for dinner. It probably goes back to your breakfast. So I would definitely bulk up your breakfast if that's the case. Yeah, that's a great idea. What Katie said, she has her shake later in the morning, and then breakfast, and then shake and lunch later. So I mean, whatever works, right? Like, and it could take some playing around. Katie, you probably found that you had to kind of play around and see like when you could have it. Mine mornings are always the same. I get up, I drink some water, and then I have Energize, and then I go work out, and I work out fasted with this program. I'm okay with that. With 80 Day Obsession, I had to eat something because they were longer workouts, but I'd usually just have like a half a banana or something. And then I have Recover because I get sore easy. So unless it's like a revive day or something like that, I'll have Recover, which is some protein in me quickly, but it gets burnt up from my workout. And then I'll make my shake. And again, I'll just kind of go off where I am hunger wise for that. Yeah. But yeah, again, like it is honestly, it's a series of small steps that really just add up so well over time. And that's probably my favorite thing about this 100-day workout is that you have 100 days. Of course, you're going to make some mistakes or you're going to have, some difficult times or some things to overcome over 100 days. Like it's 100 days, but also it's not like just 21 days. So the amount of progress that you can make and like lasting change you can make if you really put your mind to it, like even like I said, if every 3 days you're trying to take on a new habit and conquer that, like imagine how much that can add up over time. It's crazy. That's the beauty of the longer programs for sure. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Are you guys pretty good? I did a lot of talking. Did you want, you know what?